الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر
Hi and welcome to Worlds Apart, a program that is committed to speaking the truth in love. I'm your host, Rommel Hussain, and today we have with us Jay Smith, who'll be speaking to us about ideologies that are worlds apart. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Hey, Rommel, thanks once again.
It's a real pleasure to have you come here and share some of your insights with us. I mean, we've been talking about a lot of different things. Essentially, what I would like to find out in this episode is where can we find true peace? Comparing Islam with Christianity.
All right, this is a good one. This is a very timely one because this is the question most people are asking today, is it not? All over the world, we're seeing violence that has been done supposedly in the name of religion. And of course, Muslims especially are concerned with this because a lot of people assume that Islam is a religion of violence, but Muslims would very clearly say, no, it's a religion of peace. And they say, look at Salam means peace, and Islam is from the same root. Now, if you speak Arabic, you know that really they're two completely different form verbs. Salam is a first form verb, Islam is a fourth form verb. So it's not really correct to say that one can be interchanged with the other. Obviously, the people that are saying that, Muslims that are saying that, don't know Arabic. Nonetheless, Salam does mean peace. Islam means obedience and submission. So to answer that question, you need to go back to that which they submit to, that which they obey. That's what they're in obedience to, and it's this book right here. So really, let's come back to this book. Because certainly the vast majority of Muslims you meet do say, we are a religion of peace. And I don't doubt them, I believe that. The vast majority of Muslims in Australia, in the UK, in America, in the West, they would all say, yes, we are a religion of peace. Yes, this book is a book of peace. Yes, the prophet is a man of peace. And I hear that over and over again. And they have to say that. God bless them. They're living in the West.
Yes.
You don't dare say any other. Because
right.
you won't last very long. Your credibility won't last very long if you say any other. Because nobody wants a religion of violence. Not today.
Yes.
Because of the violence that's happening around the world. So therefore, it stands to reason that they'll say that. The difficulty with them is they're going to have to prove it to us. They're going to have to convince us. And what I do with Muslims all the time, I say, I don't want to hear your opinion of what your opinion is of what Islam believes, because everybody's opinion is going to change. Don't even trust my opinion. Whenever I do a debate, Rommel, with a Muslim, I always start the debate by saying, everything you as a Muslim says, I assume you're going to take from Scripture.
Yes.
You're going to support it in Scripture.
Yes.
And that everything you model will be modeled by your Prophet Muhammad. And I'll demand the same thing of myself. Everything that I say must come from Scripture. Especially the New Testament, because the New Testament is my authority for today. That which I follow is in the New Testament. I don't follow the Old Testament model. You can see where I'm going to go with this.
Of course.
And the model, the paradigm that I must follow must be Jesus Christ. Once I ask them that, and once they affirm that that's what they're going to do, and that's what I'm going to do, as soon as I've shaken hands with them, I've won the debate. Especially on this issue.
How's that?
Well, because they're going to have to come back to this book. And I'll say to my Muslim friend, and I'll say this to Muslims who are listening right now, show me in the Quran where it says you're to have peace. Where are those verses there? I've asked this to many Muslims. I've done many debates on this. And there's a problem. There's a dearth of verses. There's about 3 that I've heard Muslims use. Let me just go to those 3 right now. And for those of you who are listening, write these down. Surah 2, Ayah 256. Surah 2, Ayah 190. And Surah 5, Ayah 32. Those are the ones that I've heard over and over again, those 3 verses. Let's look at them and unpack them a little bit. And you'll see them on the screen below you. Surah 2, Ayah 256 says very simply, for there is no compulsion in religion. That seems pretty peaceful. You don't enforce your religion on any other.
Your beliefs,
That's
yes.
right. You don't enforce your beliefs on any other. So it sounds very peaceful. Until you realize when that verse was revealed. And according to the exegetes, according to the science of exegesis, that verse was revealed to the Prophet when he first moved to Medina. between 622 and 624. Now we know that when he first moved to Medina, he was trying to make a relationship and have a relationship with the Jews. So there would stand to reason that a verse like that would be revealed to him. There is no compulsion in religion, so he really did scare off the Jews. The problem is, in the Quran, there are many verses that contradict each other. If you look at the Quran, there's about 220 verses that are contradictory.
Wow.
We don't have time to go into all of them, but just take my word for it. The Muslims, if you disagree with that, look at my paper that's up online. You can go to debate.org.uk and look at my paper on the Quran. We go through about 50 of the most vivid contradictions in the Quran. So certainly Muslim scholars know that there are many contradictions in the Quran. Because of that, there needs to be a law that alleviates that problem.
Explanation.
There's a law in the Quran that alleviates that. It's called the law of abrogation. The law of abrogation, any good Muslim exegete knows this law, and it's found in Surah 2, Ayah 106, and Surah 16, Ayah 101. In both those references, as you can see at the bottom of your screen here, Surah 2, Ayah 106, and both 16, Ayah 101 stipulate that which we give, a verse that we give, mansuk, we give something better, nasik.
Okay.
Mansuk is weak, nasik is strong. So if you have a weak verse, always, the later verse is strong. So it's one of time.
So it supersedes it.
Anything that comes after supersedes it.
Okay.
Anything that comes after it abrogates it. So any verse that's found early, if you find any verse that contradicts it and it comes after it, destroys it or abrogates it. Surah 2, Ayah 256 was revealed during a period between 622 and 624. There's 101 verses that come after that say just the opposite.
That's
which therefore they abrogate it. And these are called the Medinan verses. Enormous amount of verses, 101 of them that abrogate it. So obviously it's a very weak verse. So why are they even going to that? And by that time, usually what my Muslim friends do is they jump to Surah 2, Ayah 190. If they should attack you, defend yourself, but do not go beyond the limits. I'm paraphrasing right here.
Okay.
Do not go beyond the limits.
What limits?
Good question. You'd like to know, wouldn't you?
That's right. What are the boundaries?
Well, you need it. In fact, let's open it up so we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, Surah 2, Ayah 190. So I don't want to hurt Muslim sensibilities if I misquote it. 190. It's very clear. Now remember, this is what in Hilali and Quran. If your Quran is written by or translated by another translator, it may be a few verses before and after, because versification is not standardized in the Quran. And fight in the way of Allah those who fight you, but transgress not the limits. Now your question is, what limits? Well, I'd like to know. Look at the very next verse, 191. And kill them wherever ye find them, and turn them out from where they have turned you out. So what limits are there?
There's no
once
limits.
You've killed them.
You've just broken them.
Actually, basically, this is not very peaceful if you look at the context. Because the context is very clear, is that you can kill them, destroy them. That's not very peaceful, and that's not a solution. Usually then they go to Surah 5, Ayah 32, and I think it's best if we just read it so we don't misconstrue it. In Surah 5, Ayah 32, this is the story, actually verse 31 is the story of Cain and Abel. Cain kills his brother Abel, doesn't know what to do with the body. He sees a raven scratching in the ground, bearing its partner, so he decides to follow the example of the raven. Now the very next verse in 32, it says this, because of that we ordained for the children of Israel that if anyone killed a person not in retaliation of murder or to spread mischief in the land, it would be as if he killed all mankind. And if anyone saved a life, it would be as if he saved the life of all mankind. Now it sounds like a redemption analysis. Don't kill, save. If you kill one, you've killed everybody. If you save one, you've saved everybody.
That makes sense.
That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? There's a problem.
Why is that?
Well, look who it's written to.
Who?
At the very beginning of this, it says, we ordained for the children of Israel. So who is this writing to?
To Jews?
This is to Jews. This is for Jews. If you kill one, it's as if you kill all. Oh, Jews, if you save one, it's as if you save all. This is not even written for Muslims. Wow. So you need to look at the whole context of the verse. Now, many of my radical Muslim friends, they'll say, yes, that's true, Mr. Smith, but the whole Quran is written for Muslims. And so therefore, what they'll say to me is, yes, though it says children of Israel, it really means to us Muslims. But they would say, and this is the great way, they come to me and they say, Mr. Smith, if you want to see who this is, it's not if anyone would kill all mankind, it's just if anyone would kill a Muslim, it's as if they killed all Muslims. Therefore, if anyone was to save a Muslim, it is as if they saved all of Muslims. Therefore, it's impingent upon me, they tell me, that I must go to Bosnia, I must go to Kosovo, I must go to Iraq and Afghanistan and Kashmir. Anytime one Muslim is killed, as if all Muslims are killed. Therefore, I must save the life of a Muslim so that I save the life of all Muslims. And they quote this verse all the time because they don't care about the context. And once you've done that, you can just throw the verse out the window. Because a liberal Muslim will interpret this verse one way without even looking at the context of the children of the Jews, children of Israel, and a radical Muslim over here on the right will interpret a completely different way. There is no context for the many Muslims, and that's why you need to be careful with Scripture. Thank God we look at always the context. Now, here's what my radical Muslim friend will then say to me. He said, listen, Mr. Smith, you know good and well that the most authoritative part of the Quran is this part of the Quran, the first part, the Medinan. Because these are the verses that were revealed to the Prophet between 622 and 632, the last 10 years of his life. And you must go to the last one, the very last surah, Surah 9, which is the most authoritative one, because it was revealed, or it was sent down, according to my radical Muslim friends, and most every Muslim exegete would agree with this, it was sent down in 632, the last year, the final year of Muhammad's life. Therefore, it's the most authoritative surah in the entire Quran. When you go to Surah 9, it is not pleasant reading.
What's it say?
No. Surah 9, Ayah 5, called the sword verse. Slay the unbeliever wherever ye find them. Besiege them. Lay in wait for them with every kind of ambush. That doesn't sound very peaceful, does it?
No.
I remember doing a debate with Azam Tamimi in Cambridge University. Azam Tamimi is head of the Hamas party there in Britain, and he's on television quite often, well-known, spoken, a charismatic individual. I asked him to exegete that verse. He said, Mr. Smith, that has nothing to do with you. Don't worry. I said, why not? He said, well, they slay the unbeliever. The unbeliever in Arabic is mushrikun. A mushrik is someone who commits shirk. Would be masculine plural. So someone who commits shirk, slay them.
Who is that?
Well, I thought that means me. I thought Muslims always call me a mushrik because I believe that God came in the form of Jesus, and you believe that I created Jesus, made him into a God. So have I not committed shirk? He said, no, it's not you, he said. I said, whew, that's a relief. So who was it? He said, it's the pagans. I said, well, then, okay, who are the pagans today? He says, it's the idolaters. I said, well, then who are the idolaters? It's the Hindus. Now, it just so happened in that debating hall, half the audience were made up of Hindu Cambridge students. Do not say, there was a gasp in the audience. And in Cambridge Union, whenever you, at the end of a debate, you have either one of two doors that you go out of. You either go with the proposition, you go out with the opposition. I was arguing for the proposition that day. Over 400 went out with the proposition. Only around 6 or 7 went out with the opposition. And it wasn't myself. I didn't win that debate. It was that verse. That's what lost it for him. It was the Quran that lost it for him because of what it says. Now, I said, okay, so Surah 9, Ayah 5 does not deal with me. What about verse 29? Surah 9, Ayah 29 says, and make war on the Al-Kitab, make war on the people of the book. That's me. You're to make war upon me. Until when? Until I pay the zakat.
What's the zakat?
That means the tax. Wow. Which only the people of the book and those who, the pagans, the non-Muslims, the non-believers had to pay.